We're here today talking with Dixon Troyer about his book, Moon People, The Journals of Lordia. Dixon, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, Scott, thank you for having me here. And I want to compliment you by saying actually Lordia's name correctly. That's the one I hear many different names, but it is really based on the Lord and it's Lordia. So good job.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Why don't we start? Just tell us a little bit about your book.
My book was created on trying to uh, find myself a bigger religious path. I was a wild kid. And so I ended up going to a church school, and I had every goal in mind to become religious, become that good kid. I'm not atheist. I'm not that at all. I want people to explore. So it all came about. I was with this group of missionaries, and I wasn't one of them. I was the outcast. And these guys have studied religion and done all this. And they go like, well, what's your point of view, Dixon? And I go, well, what if we take the word in the Bible and replace the word light with spaceship? It makes a lot more sense. A light came out of the sky, a spaceship came out of the sky, and these two angels walked out. Well, if you and I, Scott, were these two angels with a Bic lighter and a flashlight in the time of Moses, we would become gods to them. So there are stories like this, and there's so much conspiracy theory, and I don't want to call it ancient mysteries of where other aliens have come to the earth here. I just want to open up people's minds that, maybe it is out there. I listen to these podcasts and they just inspire me. They just open up my mind, and I want to share that with you. So, are there aliens from another planet? Were we created by aliens in another planet? Do they still visit us? And that sounds crazy, but this is also a book of a satire comedy on top of. So it's not this super rich sci-fi book. It really is to have people have conversations. So inside the book, I have 11 conspiracy theories. There's a bunch of Easter eggs in this book as well too. All the numbers are a part of this, and that's what I want to share with everyone about this book. And that's The Moon People, The Journals of Lordia. So obviously, who created the people here on earth as slaves in his own image, and that would be Lordia. And he tells us his story of being here on earth for 4,000 years. And just so you know, there is actually a person that this is based on, that people still think he's alive on this earth today, walking around with us. And wow. I have names for all this. I have the planets. I have all the research on this and ancient scriptures that talk about this.
So you spent obviously a lot of time researching and a lot of time, years looking into this. Was there a point where you thought, man, I should turn this into a book, or what was that? Was there like a moment in time, or was it more of process over time? Talk us through kind of the inspiration and how you got it into a book.
I always thought I wasn't an English major, so I couldn't write. And I learned down the road that you have your editors and you have your writers. And the writers are the creative people, and your editors are your English people. And you need each other. You need each other. So I'm an ideal person. I can drive home and come up with a whole new story. It's just how the mind works. So one day I had all these ideas. I wrote them down, and I said, I need to write a book. And so I outlined the whole book. I'm not going to write this book and just grab, and start typing it up. I outlined the whole book, and then I started to create the story. In the meantime, I'm still watching these podcasts, and there's life on the moon, and there's satellites up there on the moon, and the moon's a spaceship. It just kept inspiring me as I wrote. So I sat down every night for an hour, sometimes on the weekends longer, and I punched out this first draft of the book in about 3 months. Was it the greatest draft? No, it wasn't. Then I ended up getting in some critique groups, and we all met and we worked it out, and then editors, and I got to hone my writing skills a little bit. But I sat down with that process, and it was almost like a Zen process where all these ideas come to me. When I finally sit down and write, it is such a relaxing event. Just let the creative juices go through that. It was just a nice feeling to be able to sit down and write the book. After I wrote the book, it took me about 3 years after that to go through all the edits and to get it published.
And now, kind of the exciting part is it's not just available in paperback, but it's also an audio book. And so, one of my favorite things to hear is the story of how you selected the narrator for your book.
It was just the basic process. I was in TV and film before, and it was just an audition process. They sent me audio tapes, people, and the funniest thing is my guy that narrated my book, he made me laugh. He just goes like, I can't remember what he said. He says, Lordia, you tell me, you're the boss. And he just made me laugh. And he actually cracked up a couple times during his audition tape where everyone was just straight. And I go like, that's the guy right there. The guy's having fun with it.
That's great. Well, before we end our time together, anything else you want to share with us about your book or yourself?
Yeah, I do want to say that this is loaded with conspiracy theories and ancient mysteries. The moon's a spaceship, Sasquatch is on it. Everything is based. I'm not just going out in left field and making this stuff up. Adam and Eve were growing as slaves, but there wasn't just one Adam and one Eve. There's like 47 Adams and there's 56 Eves. It was growing in Lordia's image because they came here to mine gold. This whole thing is based on the planet Nebaru, which is starting to find out is like a 10th planet out there. And they've circled every 3,600 years. So that's why we don't see it. They came here on a spaceship, which is the moon. That's how they got here because it was an easy spaceship to make. It was already hollow. They just put the thrusters in and they got here. I have how Noah's Ark happened and how the flooding happened when they moved the moon ship and went back to their planets and just caused the polar rotation to change. I had to put Sodom and Gomorrah in there because it is such a bizarre story. If you ever read it, it's what goes on with that. Book of Genesis about the giants in there. And again, it's just to open up people's eyes. They say in the book of Genesis 6, the gods came down, plural. And they loved the human women and they had babies with them. Obviously, we know what was going on. And they created the giants. Sodom and Gomorrah was wiped out they're starting to find out by a nuclear war blast because there's all this melted sand in there. And if you find out what they did to travelers, which are probably angels, you would probably drop a bomb on them too. They were so bad. What they did to new travelers coming into Sodom and Gomorrah. It's all in the book. And again, this is supposed to be fun. I would love to have people have reading groups on this one to question, to get on the internet, look up Nebaru, look up the Anunnaki, look up Inkai and Eli, who this is based on. And you guys can find that on my website, which is moonpeoplebook.com. And that's book, just one on that one, no S. Or you can do moonpeoplebook@gmail.com. And I would love to answer any questions that you have. Is this a conspiracy theory or something documented somewhere in ancient mysteries? And I would love to answer you and where it came from.
And we can put that in the comments too, or in the captions as well. It's moonpeoplebook.com, you said, and we'll put both of those in the captions. Thanks again for sharing with us, for just stirring thoughts and talking and the conversation. Again, we're excited because Dixon's book's available as an audiobook. We talked about it was available as a paperback. You can grab it online through Amazon, through iTunes, but you can also grab it through Audible to listen to it on the go and just, he talked about there's some comedy in there, some different things in there as well, and it's an entertaining read. So thank you so much for joining us, Dixon.
Hey, Scott, thanks for having me, and I really appreciate your time. It's very valuable to you as well as it is to me and all you guys out there. I really hope you enjoy the book. It is a trilogy, so book 2 is coming out and book 3 is coming out soon too.
There we go. Be on the lookout for the next 2 books in this series. Thanks again, Dixon. Have a great day.
Thank you, Scott.